America. It's the Great Hollywood Wake-Up Tour. I'm Joan Lunden.
And I'm Charles Gibson. Good to have you with us. It is Monday, February 10th, and we're going to have some fun this week as we come to you from the sets of 5 different television shows in Hollywood. And we start on the set of the ABC situation comedy, very successful, Home Improvement. And if you watch the show on Tuesday nights, you know of all the different locations in which they shoot. Interesting thing, they're all lined up right in a row here on a giant Hollywood soundstage in the Disney studios. If you watch the show, for instance, you know that Tim Allen is the host of a fictional television show called Tool Time. Well, this is the set where they shoot Tool Time. And then right next door, just a foot away, is the garage where you see Tim working on various projects.
On things out here.
That's right, projects with the kids. And then right next door is the home.
Kind of like our little living room and kitchen that we have.
Mr. Domestic is here in the kitchen at the moment.
Yes. He's making sure that the muffins come out okay.
And then right over there is the back fence where he talks to Wilson.
That's right, who you never see.
That's right, you never see Wilson, but we're going to meet him today, and we're going to meet all the cast of the show. If you do watch this show, you know it is built around the premise that Tim Allen believes that a man is not a man unless he can find his way blindfolded around the Sears tool department. He is sort of Mr. Craftsman, a man who sees the world in Black & Decker.
Just like you, right, Charlie?
Just like, right, yeah, sure.
But this whole city is just movies and television. It's really big business. In fact, movies are America's second leading export just behind aerospace. I don't know if people realize that, so we'll take a look at this giant industry. Also at the Hollywood-Washington connection and why so many entertainers are now getting involved in politics. Right now, though, we will go back to New York where Mike Schneider has the news for us. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Joan and Charlie. Good morning, everyone. It's just kind of coincidental that the program is emanating from Hollywood this morning and that this happens also to be Black History Month, because this morning we're going to tell you about the passing of a man who had profound influence on both Hollywood and the black experience in this country. 15 years ago, this country was glued to its TV sets watching Roots. Alex Haley wrote that story tracing the history of his family, the many hardships they had to overcome from slavery on. Alex Haley died this morning in Seattle, Washington at Swedish Hospital. The cause of his death has not been announced yet. Alex Haley was 70 years old. Other news this morning, the Western airlift of relief supplies to the old Soviet Union got off the ground in Germany this morning, the start of a 2-week-long international effort to benefit the new Commonwealth countries. Secretary of State Baker was there to kick off Operation Provide Hope, and so was ABC's John McQuethy.
It was a photo op on a grand scale designed to capture the world's attention and underscore the urgent need to move quickly. Planes from nearly a dozen nations have joined the U.S. in this airlift that will carry food and medical supplies to all the new countries that used to make up the Soviet Union. The Italians are carrying 15 tons of oranges. The Belgians are carrying milk and the British baby food. The U.S. will make 54 flights in the next 2 weeks, carrying 4.5 million tons of food and medical supplies left over from the Persian Gulf War. As enormous as this effort may seem, everyone acknowledges that it is little more than a drop in the ocean when compared to the overall need. But the airlift is designed as much to send a message as it is to actually deliver emergency supplies.
These aircraft will be our messengers, symbolizing our commitment to help freedom flourish in these new lands. In Minsk and Moscow, Kiev and Yerevan, Bishkek and Almaty, our air crews will find not old enemies, but they will find new friends.
Some European governments have been scornful of this airlift, saying it's just a grandstand effort by the U.S. that will have no real impact. American officials respond by saying, just look around. All those critics have now joined the airlift, and their planes are loaded and ready to go. John McQuethy, ABC News, Rhein-Main Air Force Base in Germany.
Russia's President Yeltsin has been warning the West there could be another attempt to overthrow the government there if the West doesn't send aid right away, and there was evidence yesterday that Yeltsin does understand the situation very well. Thousands of demonstrators turned out in Moscow yesterday calling for a return of the old days of communism. ABC's John Donovan joins us live right now with that story. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mike. I'm afraid that from the Russian point of view, the operation that began today in Frankfurt and that will conclude here is also seen as an operation of smoke and mirrors, and as far as the Russians are concerned, it is not very much aid. They do not want smoke and mirrors. They want aid and they want help, and they feel that over the last 12 months they just have not gotten enough. They point out also that the United States is way behind Europe when it comes to giving aid here, particularly behind the Germans. And so while they are not ungrateful for what's happening today, they really hope that it is the start of something that will continue. The government here, the Russian government of Boris Yeltsin, is obviously quite concerned about what it's been seeing on the streets over the last few days. A demonstration that so far is the largest we've seen of people opposing Yeltsin and his economic program, primarily because it's going to has led to higher prices, and prices that are out of the range of many people, so that more people have become poor in the last 6 weeks than ever before. Mike?
John, thanks very much. ABC's John Donovan, live for us this morning in Moscow. Back in this country, the first contest of the 1992 political season tonight. The Iowa caucuses really isn't all that much of a contest at all this year. Iowa's Senator, native son Tom Harkin, and President Bush are expected to be the big winners. So essentially everybody's turning their attention to next week's New Hampshire primary. And what is shaping up now to be a real horse race? ABC's Cokie Roberts has details.
Currently running third in the polls, Nebraska Senator Bob Kerrey gave his assessment of the New Hampshire primary on This Week with David Brinkley.
It's wide open. I mean, it clearly is wide open. There's a lot of people in New Hampshire, I'd say at least a majority, who have not made up their minds yet.
For weeks, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton has been the front runner in this race, but questions about how he avoided military service, on top of earlier questions about extramarital affairs, have made voters edgy, according to the polls. A Boston Globe poll released yesterday puts the top two candidates, Clinton and former Massachusetts Senator Paul Tsongas, in a virtual tie. And every day of polling shows more people deserting Clinton. Tsongas is getting some glee out of his new status.
Well, when I think of you all, dismissing my candidacy and I want to get angry, I have to remember that my friends had the same reaction.
New Hampshire is notorious for doing the unpredictable. For a while, this year looked like it might be different, but now the Democrats are making it clear they'll keep the candidates guessing until the votes are counted. Cokie Roberts, ABC News, Manchester.
Finally, Magic Johnson was back at center court yesterday for the NBA All-Star Game. And like so many of his performances before, this one was a real crowd pleaser, maybe the ultimate crowd pleaser. Here's ABC's John Schneider.
At his introduction, he received a lengthy ovation. And when the game started, he played as though he had never been away with great style. He had 9 of 12 shots in the game, including this hook against the game's best defensive player, Dennis Rodman. Johnson's West team was on the way to an easy victory. In the second half, Johnson hit 3 three-pointers, including this one on the game's final play, one-on-one against his buddy, Isaiah Thomas. Johnson, with 25 points, was named the game's most valuable player, a perfect ending to a perfect day.
It's the greatest feeling of any professional athlete can get, especially if you've been away from it. And that's what makes it all special, the high fives, the hugs, the laughing and joking. And those are things that you bottle up and just remember forever.
Johnson still expects to play in the Olympics this summer. Yesterday was likely his last NBA game, and it came on a day when many were saying, thanks for the memories. Mike?
Thanks, John. Now let's head back to Hollywood and Charlie and Spencer.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. You know, it seemed as if everybody was a supporting player to Magic, and none of the other players minded in the least. It was a terrific show yesterday. We are standing in the Taylor family kitchen here on the set of Home Improvement. Spencer, going to be doing the weather from here to tell us whether the nation is an icebox or whether it's heating up.
No, in fact, it's not an icebox at all over much of the country, but the unusual feature is the heavy rainfall here in Southern California, where they say it never rains, but I arrived and, of course, the storms followed me. So let's go to the maps and take a look at what's going on with the weather. Our western view shows an active Pacific with storm systems, one moving inland, of course, during the overnight hours, bringing heavy rainfall to California and the rest of the west coast, and another one poised way out in the central Pacific. It's moving towards the coast as well. So over the next couple of days, look for more rainfall along the coast. There have been buckets of rain in the last 24 hours, and more will fall today from Coos Bay up north to L.A. and San Diego down south. Look generally for 1/2 to 2 inches of rainfall. There will be extensive flooding along coastal areas, the possibility of mudslides, and it's just going to be an overall messy day. Gusty winds, some winds last night gusted over 70 miles per hour. Of course, there'll be high and dangerous surf. And you move farther inland, you get piles of snow. From the Sierras up into the Siskiyous and the Cascades, look for about 6 to 12 inches of snowfall today. Right around Mount Shasta, there could be about 18 inches of snow. And farther inland over the central Rockies, all the way up into parts of Idaho and Montana, there could be another 6 inches of snow today. Slippery road conditions, of course, so drive carefully. So apart from the messy and wet picture in the west, we've got sunny skies in the nation's midsection, sunny in the south, sunny along the Atlantic coast, snowy up over the Great Lakes, but nothing like the snow out west. Generally 1 to 2 inches of snowfall expected over the Great Lakes today. That's a look at the national weather picture. Here's a look at the weather where you are.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Channel 5 meteorologist Rick Mitchell. We will have a couple of periods of rain this morning mixed with sleet and snow, then just mostly cloudy this afternoon. A little milder than yesterday, a high temperature of 42, wind south 10 to 15.
And we're back in the kitchen of home improvement. I've been looking for coffee all day, and I'm sure I can find some here, but I want to point out to you that many people believe that the sets on Hollywood shows are not very functional. Everything's phony, but everything here really, really works. This sink works, hot and cold running water. The microwave works, I know, because we heated up some stuff here not too long ago. The refrigerator refrigerates, and the freezer freezes. I mean, what more can you ask? The dishes break when you throw them, and the stove cooks when you turn it on. And, of course, the old coffee maker, which is what I've been interested in all morning, and we have no coffee. Okay, props. Can we do something about this, please? Maybe by the next half hour. We'll have more weather then as well. And now back to Joan, behind the scenes at Home Improvement.
We'll see if we can find you some coffee, Spencer. You know, there's an old joke that says, where does a 500-pound gorilla sit? The answer, of course, is anywhere he wants. Well, here in Hollywood, it's kind of like that. They call the really big movie stars, and I mean the really, really big ones, 500-pound gorillas, because they really can get anything they want. And therein lies one of the reasons for the high cost of making films. Of course, there are other factors as well, and our Joel Siegel, our man at the movies, has the answer.
If you're thinking they don't make movies like they used to, you may be right. And I don't mean the brutal fight scenes, or the steamy love scenes, or the high-tech big crash car chases. I mean money. You're just throwing it away. Try this on for size. In 1980, it cost on the average just under $10 million to make a movie. Add $4 million to market the film. Advertising, publicity, prints, total $14 million. In 1990, it cost $27 million to make a film and $14 million more to sell it. Total $41 million.
This was the old MGM back lot, and in 1 week here in 1941, Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, Lana Turner, Robert Taylor, William Powell, Myrna Loy, Greta Garbo, Edward G. Robinson, and Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland were all making films here. Spencer Tracy earned under $5,000 a week. Katharine Hepburn under $4,000. Mickey Rooney, the #1 star in America, under $3,000, and Judy Garland under $2,000. Today, according to Entertainment Weekly, James Woods' hairdresser on the hard way earns $6,000 a week, and James Woods doesn't have $6,000 worth of hair.
They need trailers. They need Winnebagos. They have special trainers. They have they have an enormous set of perks that come with hiring them that expand the nature of the production.
So a magazine reports one male megastar has 2 full-time drivers, one for his limo, one following him in his personal car in case he wants to drive himself. But the main reason for increased film cost isn't perks, it's star salaries.
There are 2 parts of what a star is, the creative part and the part that counts. The part that counts is, can you open a movie? What does that mean? Does your audience automatically show up on the first weekend?
Audiences respond emotionally. I want this film, and I want it tonight. Now, 20% of the people buy 80% of the tickets. It's a fan-driven business.
So even though Dying Young did, it had a $10 million opening weekend. That's what stars do. And that's why Julia Roberts' salary bumped from $350,000 for Pretty Woman to a published $7 million a movie. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is the king of the Hollywood jungle.
Trust me.
He's the Tarzan of all of our 500-pound gorillas here. If he's in a movie, it will open. Who else can do that now? That number's shrinking.
He really did get a $12 million jet plane for Terminator 2. At $94 million, the most expensive movie ever made. But because of Arnold, the studio was able to sell the foreign TV, video, and cable rights for $91 million before one ticket was sold. And last summer it sold $200 million worth of tickets, almost all profit. But last summer, most of the rest of Hollywood needed intensive care. After Hudson Hawk, which cost $60 million and brought in $8, Bruce Willis is making his next film for scale, plus a percentage of the profits. After Havana, Robert Redford is doing the same with his next film. When the studio balked at the budget, both William Shatner, Captain Kirk, and Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, took a percentage so Star Trek VI could fly. But that doesn't mean less money.
Wait till they get a load of me.
His piece of Batman's profits earned Jack Nicholson an estimated $50 million.
I think there's cost cutting going on. There's a lot of reevaluation of deals. And at the same time, the same kind of wacky decisions are going to get made by caprice that they always do. Because a studio head can be seduced by a movie star being passionate in a room like anyone else.
The big stars and the big directors and the big writers ask for more. They get it. They deserve it.
The consensus, they'll save nickels and dimes and still throw dollars away.
Lowering costs in Hollywood, it's just like the United States Congress. It's not lowering costs, it's lowering the rate of increase. It's Washington bookkeeping, you know.
Well, it works. As of Christmas, the hits are back, and what will the 500-pound gorillas get? Anything they want. Even Hollywood's smallest 500-pound gorilla. Macaulay Culkin got a reported $5 million for the sequel to Home Alone. He's asking $8 million to star as Richie Rich. You know, it might be cheaper to get Richie Rich to play Macaulay Culkin.
That Washington bookkeeping will get you in trouble every time.
Yes, now we heard Joel, he kept saying they work for scale. Scale is the minimum amount required to pay an actor by the Actors Union, and right now, currently, scale is $448 a day for a lead actor in a feature film.
They were talking about those 500-pound gorillas?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you were in, what is the name of the movie, What About Bob?
No, I'm not a 500-pound gorilla, sorry.
Well, some of the other 500-pound gorillas in that movie, one of them got $5 million, I'm told, the other got $8.
I'll have to talk to them about that.
You got scale, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm glad I'm not her agent.
When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at Hollywood politics style. We'll be back.
These are the office managers, the travel specialists, the accountants, and business managers of tomorrow. Their careers are beginning here in the classrooms at Hamilton Business College. Now is the time to start your career. Call Hamilton Business College. With intensive short-term programs, classes that fit your schedule, professional, personalized instruction, and lifetime placement assistance, this is your opportunity to excel. Call Hamilton Business College today. Your future begins right here.
We won't tell you what to listen to, but listen to this. Right now, every home stereo system and component is on sale at Best Buy. Like this Pioneer 100-watt audio-video receiver with Dolby surround sound and a programmable smart remote that can run practically anything for just $288. Everything in home audio is on sale at Best Buy. So get a new stereo, no matter what kind of music you're into.
Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves, winner of 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Cinematography. Premiering exclusively on Showtime, February 8th and 17th at 8, 7 Central on Heritage Cablevision.
You know, I was mad. I had no intention of hurting anybody.
1 year ago, a strange twist of events led to the death of one teenager and the life imprisonment of another.
And I think, well, if I wouldn't have bought the gun, then it wouldn't have happened. But, you know, like I said, it's too late to change things. It was a stupid mistake.
What's it like to be a 19-year-old and to know you'll be spending the rest of your life behind bars? A Clyde teenager will tell you in a series of special reports here on Channel 5.
It is now 19 minutes after the hour. There has long been a connection between Hollywood and Washington, a political connection that goes back many years. And this is, of course, the political season. Nobody knows the Hollywood-Washington connection better than Ron Brownstein. He is a national political correspondent for the Los Angeles Times, and he is an author of the book, The Power and the Glitter, The Hollywood-Washington Connection. And Ronald Brownstein is joining us this morning from our affiliate, WMUR, in Manchester, New Hampshire. Ron, can you hear me? Good to have you with us.
Yes, good morning. Glad to be here.
As you looked at the connection between Hollywood and Washington, what does each want from the other?
Well, historically, Hollywood has looked to Washington. People in Hollywood have looked to Washington, to the political arena, as a way of validating themselves. I mean, there's an enormous amount of self-doubt in Hollywood beneath all of the money and the success and the trappings of affluence about whether what they do really is something that a serious grown-up person should be spending their life doing. And I think Hollywood stars have always seen Washington in association with politicians as a way of proving that they have more gravity, that they're more serious than their on-screen image may suggest. Conversely, I think people in Washington have been attracted to Hollywood for probably 2 or 3 reasons, one of which is very tangible political assistance in terms of money and attracting attention, because one thing that stars do extremely well is attract TV cameras and attract fans and help politicians, you know, sort of reflect in some of that glamour. And also, they enjoy it. Many of the historically, you know, since the 1930s, really, from Franklin Roosevelt and Melvin Douglas. I mean, sometimes politicians like being around stars the way the rest of us do.
Ron, from Washington's standpoint, does it work when JFK stands next to Frank Sinatra, or when Gary Hart has Warren Beatty on his staff? Is there any evidence that it actually gets them votes?
No, I think there are very few people in this country who would change their vote because of what Warren Beatty or Arnold Schwarzenegger says. But I think stars can be useful in 2 ways to politicians. One is that, and not only politicians, by the way, but political causes, and in some ways they're even more useful to political causes. What they can do is attract attention. I mean, in the media age, the ante of political influence is the ability to be noticed, the ability to be seen, the ability to attract TV cameras. And stars can do that very well for issues and for little-known candidates. I mean, when Eugene McCarthy was here in New Hampshire in 1968, and Paul Newman was out stumping for him in the cold, bitter winter, long before it looked like he had any chance against Lyndon Johnson, Newman was much better known than McCarthy was. The other thing that I think stars can do for politicians is they can, some stars, the biggest stars, can allow you to sort of signal your cultural values. Why did Jimmy Carter talk about Bob Dylan in 1976? Why did George Bush make a point of stressing his like of country music when he was up here last week? They're trying to send out a signal to potential voters about the kind of person they are. And one way they can do that is by the kind of cultural symbols that they associate with.
Ron, is there a Hollywood candidate for 1992? Is there a coalition or coalescing behind one candidate yet?
Well, it was supposed to be Bob Kerrey. I mean, Bob Kerrey really fits in the line of the kind of candidates that Hollywood liked, what I call a stylish liberal, from Adlai Stevenson to Gary Hart. They like someone who is both liberal and has a certain sense of flair, but Kerry's had the same sort of uneven performance in Hollywood in his auditions that he's had here and elsewhere.
He had the Deborah Winger connection, but it didn't work.
He had the Deborah Winger connection. Right. He had some ties, and he was the kind of person they like. And he came out, and he has raised some money there, to be fair to him, and he has some support. But Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton has also done pretty well in Hollywood, has raised a fair amount of money, attracted some of the heavy studio hitters, and the 2 of them, I think, in the next few weeks, will be, the Hollywood community will settle on one or the other.
Well, maybe Hollywood waits the same way the public does to find out which way the wind's blowing. Ron, thanks very much.
It's sale time at the Wiley Eye Care Centers. Buy a pair of single vision or bifocal glasses and we'll give you $30 off. If your purchase is trifocals, $35 off. And would you believe, $40 off progressive lenses, including Verilux. Our lenses are precision ground, manufactured in the Wiley Lens Lab by Wiley professionals to perfection. When it comes to fit, quality, price, and guarantee, it is always, and will continue to be, the Wiley Eye Care Centers. At Wiley's, the most important person is you. Come see us.
We're throwing a party at KFC, and the reason is simple. For over 50 years, people have been looking to KFC for great-tasting chicken. And for 50 years, only KFC has delivered that great taste. With a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, no one's ever made chicken like KFC. Celebrate over 50 years of delicious original recipe chicken with a 10-piece bucket for only $4.99. So stop by KFC and get a 10-piece bucket for just $4.99. And find out for yourself what the celebration's all about. This offer ends soon.
Alexander's Photo Center is more than just a camera store. Of course, we have new and pre-owned camera equipment, film, photo finishing and accessories, camera repairs, passports, and friendly help. But also you'll find darkroom accessories and supplies, the best custom black and white lab in town, professional commercial photography in studio or on location, plus rental equipment, rental darkroom, and studio for amateurs or pros. Come in and let us help you at Alexander's Photo Center and Commercial Photography, where we offer you more.
I'm Channel 5's Gail Nye. This month, Pepsi, Hy-Vee, and Channel 5 are teaming up to help keep your children safe. This is a lifesaver tag, designed to provide vital ID and medical information about your kids. The tag can be laced into shoes or sewn into clothing. In an emergency situation, This information could save your child's life. On Saturday, February 22nd, we'd like to invite you to pick up your free lifesaver tags at the 35th Street High V in West Des Moines. It just might be a lifesaver for your kids.
This is a Channel 5 News Update. This Channel 5 News Brief is brought to you by Divine Office Systems, your authorized Lexmark laser printer dealer.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ron Fowler, 7:25 now. Depending on where you live, it may be a little slick going as you head out this morning. We do have some school delays to tell you about. Fort Dodge public and parochial schools will be running 2 hours late this morning with no morning kindergarten. Southeast Webster will be 2 hours late today, and Creston will be running 2 hours late, and Cedar Valley and Prairie will be running 2 hours late today. There have been some reports of minor accidents and some slick conditions this morning. We have a mixed bag of precipitation right now, right, Rick Mitchell?
That's right, Rod. Depending on where you are, you're either seeing snow or rain or perhaps a mix of those, and as you said, that is causing some slippery spots. Right now in central Iowa, we have light snow in the capital city, a temperature of about 30 degrees, and let's see, in Ames, we have light rain and about 33. Actually, it's about 34 in Des Moines. Channel 5 radar will show that we do have a mixed bag of precip all throughout the state, although in western Iowa, it's starting to clear out. That's good news. All this activity moving off to the east at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Road conditions, courtesy of the Iowa Department of Public Safety, show that we have mostly 50 to 100% snow and ice covered throughout most of the state. Bottom line is, as you're heading out, be careful this morning. All right, let's wrap this confusion up into a 5-cast. It goes like this. Well, I understand we don't have a 5-cast, so I'm just going to walk on over here, and as I do so, I'll tell you all about it. We will have the rain and the snow this morning, and that will allow roads to be a little bit slippery. Clearing, well, at least drying out this afternoon. Cloudy, a high temperature of 42. Mostly cloudy tonight, 21. Cloudy and colder tomorrow with a high of 30. The outlook for the weekend, or the weekend, what am I saying? For the middle part of the week, snow on Wednesday, dry on Thursday. Forget all this confusion. Just use your common sense this morning and take it easy as you head outside.
That's what I was going to say. What you need to know this morning is take it easy. Some slick spots in some areas.
Yeah, bottom line, that's it.
Something like that. When we come back, another suspect in the Adele double murder case is in court today. We'll have that story and more when we come back.
The IBM Laser Printer 10 prints graphics 45% faster than the leading laser printer. Which printer would you rather use in a crunch? The new IBM laser printers put you pages ahead. The IBM Laser Printer 10 can print 700 pages without reloading. 3 times more than the leading laser printer. They just don't stack up.
See the Lexmark laser printers at Divine Office Systems, 1326 Walnut, Des Moines.
In the news, a second suspect in the Adele double murder case goes to court today. 21-year-old Harris Evans is accused of taking part in the murders of 2 women last summer. Their bodies were found in an Adele rural farmhouse. Evans is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is the second man to be tried in this case. Last month, Douglas Jones was convicted of murder. Ames police are still investigating a weekend murder. An Ames woman was found beaten to death yesterday morning near the downtown area. Steve Karshan has the latest.
Evidence of the violent way in which 40-year-old Tony Jean Bryant was murdered was visible at the crime scene. Sergeant Craig Reed says the Ames woman died from blows to the head.
The victim was partially clothed and had apparent injuries. The case is being treated as an apparent homicide investigation at this time.
A passerby saw Bryant's body lying alongside a railroad track in a busy part of downtown Ames and called police. Bryant's car was found nearby. Police hauled it away to check it for clues. Bryant was a lab technician at the Iowa State University Veterinary Medical Research Institute. Neighbors say she had lived at this house on South Riverside Drive for 6 years and was well liked.
She was friendly, outgoing type of person. She never made any problems for any of the neighbors. I mean, she was very good to get along with, actually.
Steve Karsjan, Channel 5 News.
Autopsy results on the body may be released today. Police want you to call them if you have any information to Tony Bryant's activities prior to the murder. The number is 239-5317. It's considered the beginning to the race to the White House. It's caucus day 1992 here in Iowa. Iowa Senator Tom Harkin is expected to take the Democratic ticket easily, but that didn't stop him from campaigning here this weekend. He'll continue his swing through Iowa most of today and be in Ames tonight. And that's our news for now. Thanks for letting Channel 5 keep you in touch.
Drive safely this morning.
Weather School, only on the Channel 5 News 5 o'clock report.